Pennsylvania is going to decide the balance of power in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Yes.
And I proceeded to
State.
rattle off, we are the Keystone State, I proceeded to rattle off the 4 competitive congressional races here in Pennsylvania. I wanted to come back to Lebanon County today to tell you, I believe there are not 4 competitive congressional races. I believe there are 5.
Yes.
Rachel Wallace. And she is going to finally retire Dan Mooser, a guy who fails to show up, and a guy who, when he does go to Washington, works hard against the interests of this community. We're going to talk more about that. I want you to know that people across the country are paying attention to Rachel Wallace. I'm paying attention to Rachel Wallace. And that's why, for me and Austin Davis, my lieutenant governor, our focus is winning up and down the ballot. And Rachel is a key part of that. Are you with me? It's good to be back here, and I am proud of the work that we've done as governor. All the stuff we've gotten done, the investments we've made in Lebanon County and all across Pennsylvania. And while I'm proud of that work we've done, and I appreciate all the support you've given me, I know that we are here today at a time where there's a lot of worry, and there's a lot of concern, and there's a whole lot of anger out there. For as much progress as we're making here in Pennsylvania, I also know that people are scared and angry and just tired of the chaos and the cruelty and the corruption coming from Washington, D.C., coming from Donald Trump and his enablers like Dan Mooser. And so I'm here to tell you that it's not just about being angry about that for politics' sake. Their chaos and their cruelty and their corruption, it's hurting our communities. I want you to think about this for a second. First on the chaos, right? How about the chaos of his tariffs going up and down and all around? Take a look at the news this morning from Canada. He slaps a 50% tariff on our Canadian neighbors. By the way, Pennsylvania's #1 trading partner. And you know the effect of that is it shuts off markets to our farmers right here in Lebanon County. The commissioner knows we've been on farms together here. It makes your groceries cost a whole lot more. And heck, if you're just trying to buy a present for your kid, it makes that cost more. The tariffs that Donald Trump and Dan Mooser put in place are literally just a tax on the American people. It costs more because of Trump's chaos. That war he entered into wrongfully, the war he has no idea how to get out of, is making our gas at the pump cost at least $4 a gallon. Driving up the cost of everything from the ride you got to take to get your kid to their classes on time, to the airline tickets you're trying to buy. Everything costs more because fuel prices are high, because Donald Trump started a war in Iran that he has no idea how to get out of. It's chaotic. You know what else he's real good at?
Making money.
Infecting our communities with cruelty. There is nothing more cruel than going to Washington, D.C. after promising to protect Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security and ripping away health care from hard-working Pennsylvanians, from disabled Pennsylvanians. There are 16,000 people here in Lebanon County alone who are losing access to health care. Medicaid and Obamacare going away. You know why? Because Donald Trump and Dan Mooser thought it was a good idea to give a tax cut to the people at the very top who didn't need a tax cut, and to pay for it on the backs of people's health care here in Lebanon County. Across Pennsylvania, we've got 510,000 people who are about to lose health care because of that decision. You know what's even more cruel than ripping away health care? Telling a parent that they won't be able to feed their kid at night. Because 140,000 Pennsylvanians, including 8,000 here in this community, will no longer have SNAP benefits, will no longer have food assistance, because Trump and Moser have decided that they thought a tax cut for the people at the very top was more important. It's cruelty, chaos and cruelty and corruption, and we can't look the other way on the corruption.
No.
It's bad enough that Donald Trump and his kids made $2.2 billion during his time as president. But understand something. It's not just about the money that they put in their pockets. It's the money they've taken out of yours, which is the price of that corruption. When he's sitting behind the desk in the Oval Office, he's not thinking about how to put money in your pocket, Commissioner. He's thinking about how to put money in his own. And so he's making decisions that work against your interests. I don't know about you, but I'm done with the chaos. I'm done with the chaos. I'm done with corruption. And we're going to have an old-fashioned election to say enough is enough. I'll tell you what else. You guys, we're on message here, Rachel. I'll tell you what else. I'm done with. I'm done with the people like Dan Moser and my opponent who enable the corruption. My opponent, by the way, celebrated the tariffs that make your stuff cost more. She actually called on our congressional delegation to pass the bill that cut Medicaid and SNAP funding. She celebrated with Trump when Roe v. Wade was overturned. And she still can't bring herself to acknowledge that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election here in Pennsylvania. I don't need an enabler here in Pennsylvania occupying the governor's office. We got more stuff to get done, and we can't simply have someone there who's going to be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump.
That's right.
We got to stand up to him. As I have as your governor, I gave you my word I would stand up and defend your fundamental freedoms. That's why women still have a right to choose. When Trump demanded that I turn over all of the voter rolls with more private, personal information, I said, hell no. He sued me. I'll see you in court, Mr. President. We will defend the privacy rights. And Moser wanted to put 2 massive ICE detention facilities in your district, one in Schuylkill and one in Berks County. I fought them and I won, and those detention centers will never come to pass. This is a moment in time where we gotta stand up and we gotta fight. So as your governor, I'm fighting to get stuff done. It's why we've invested more in public education than at any time in the history of Pennsylvania. Why our economy is growing at a 5.5% rate. We've created more jobs than all but 2 states in the whole country. Go on over to Shot. I was in Shot. Y'all know where that is, right here in Lebanon County? We created over 250 new jobs at Shot. I'm proud of that work. I'm proud of the investments that we've made in our farmers here in Lebanon County. In fact, we were at Tallview together, Tallview Farm, where we announced that we preserved more farmland acreage than any other state in the entire country. I came to Lebanon County. And I'm going to be a governor that continues to fight for you, to get stuff done for you. And, you know, a few people said, why are you going to Lebanon County? That's not exactly a place where Democrats go. You know why I'm here? Because you matter. And because this community matters. Because Rachel Wallace matters. Because we're going to win a state house here. This is a community where I believe folks are fired up, they're angry, and they want to turn the page on this chaos and this cruelty and this corruption. And I believe we can do that, which is why I'm back. But I'm really here today, and this is what I want to close with. I'm really here today because you're the people that have the real power in this conversation.
That's right.
You're the people that have the ability to make a huge difference, not just in our Commonwealth, but in our entire country. I believe you have the power, and I would argue you've got a responsibility because you're a Pennsylvania Democrat. You know, I was just in the back here in this incredible woodwork. What's that?
He's an artist.
He's an incredible artist. And he's got this incredible sculpture back there of one of my predecessors as governor, Ben Franklin. And he kind of fused Ben onto a car chassis. I'm not sure how Ben would have felt about that. But anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful sculpture of Ben Franklin. And it reminded me of a powerful story of Ben Franklin that I want to share with you. Ben Franklin famously is one of our founders, 250 years ago, assembled at what is now called Independence Hall, the old Pennsylvania State House, a group of our founding fathers, to declare our independence from a king. Yeah. And then, a decade later, he was one of only a handful of those original founders who returned to Independence Hall. And he helped draft the scaffolding of our democracy. He drafted our Constitution. A lot of words on both those documents, the Declaration and, of course, the Constitution. But I think the most important words ever uttered by Ben Franklin happened when he left the Constitutional Convention. When he walked out onto those cobblestone streets of Philadelphia, and a woman walked over to him. I want you to think about this for a moment. Ben Franklin, one of the great founders of this nation, indeed, I would argue probably the greatest inventor of the last 3 centuries, was greeted by a woman who at that moment didn't even have the power to vote. She came over to him and said, "Dr. Franklin, what do we have here, a monarchy or a republic?" Franklin looked her in the eye and said, "A republic, if you can keep it." Why do I think those words are so important? Because if you can keep it means that you've got the responsibility, I've got the responsibility, successive generations have the responsibility to keep this grand experiment in self-governance. That we've got the responsibility and the power to do this work. And I'm here to tell you, Lebanon, that there is no one coming to do this work for us. We have to do it. We've got to knock on doors. We've got to make those calls. We've got to send those texts. And we've got to have those tough conversations with our neighbors who, may have made a different choice than us 2 years ago, but are seeing the effect of that choice. They're seeing the rising prices. They're seeing people get knocked off health care. They're seeing the chaos and the cruelty and the corruption. We got to go have conversations with our neighbors and let them know there is another way. That we can build a place where we feed our kids breakfast in the morning for free at school, and that we have hopeful days ahead because we came together as a community, yes, Democrats, but Republicans and independents as well, that we have this power now, a power that Franklin talked about, and I would argue a responsibility that we all have. Yes. Gang, I'm in this business to be your governor because my parents raised me to care about others, and because my faith has called me to serve. My own faith teaches me that no one is required to complete the task, but neither are we free to refrain from it. And I'm not here to preach at anybody here, but I am here to tell you that I think there's a universality in that teaching. Yes. Yes. Alone, we don't have to solve the problem. Alone, we don't have to win the election. But together, we have a responsibility to do our part. I'm here today because you are a critically important part. I'm here not just to ask you for your vote for me and for Austin Davis. I'm here to ask you to vote for Rachel and for everybody on our ticket to make sure that we win up and down the ballot, not just because we're Democrats, but because together we'll stand up to the chaos, the cruelty, and the corruption, and we'll keep on getting stuff done here in the Commonwealth. I need you to go to work. So Ian's going to come up here for no more than 60 seconds and tell you exactly what we need you to do and how you can be involved, not just today, but every day for the next 73 days to usher in a victory up and down the ballot. Thank you, Lebanon County. I appreciate it.